Dan, have you ever sleep shopped? It's similar to sleepwalking, only instead of walking, you're on Amazon and you're just buying a bunch of stuff. I woke up this morning and my email had like 4 Amazon purchases for like $1,200. And I was like, oh boy, I should not have been on my phone at 2 a.m. last night. So bought a bunch of camera gear. Woo!
Okay, hold on a second,
Oh,
Tony.
yeah. Talk to me. What's up?
So you're saying you don't remember buying any of this stuff?
I remember, once I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, that's right. I bought a bunch of stuff that I don't need last night. But I just, I was perusing and I got down this rabbit hole of camera gear and I was like, I guess I probably need this.
That's not what sleepwalking is.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. Because,
No.
then you're walking and you go to the fridge and you're eating and you're like, oh, I must be asleep because I shouldn't be eating this. You know what I'm saying?
No. Sleepwalking is when you wake up and you stand there and then you tell your wife that you think you have like a disease in your arm and it's going to consume you completely.
Okay. All right.
That's what happens when you're sleepwalking. And then you sit down and you like have like this abject fear and you're like, I'm sorry.
I love how
I'm sorry.
specific your sleepwalking story. Did this happen to you recently, Dan?
In the last week.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Underlit Dan.
And I am warm-toned Tony. It's too tungsten in here, Dan.
Too tungsten-y. Do you don't even know what tungsten is?
Yeah, no, I know. Do you know what tungsten? I don't. Well, let's actually back up. I know what tungsten lighting is. Yeah. I don't actually know what the element tungsten is. I just know that it's warmer light than my daylight, which is what I like to be at.
Yeah, it's a metal, and I believe they just make the filaments probably with tungsten, as opposed to.
Well, guys, stop doing it. I don't look good in tungsten lighting. Please stop.
And on this show, we watch a movie. Each week, one of us picks a movie, and then we watch that movie, and then we talk about that movie. And this week, it was Tony's turn to pick a movie.
My turn.
Tony, tell us about the movie you picked.
Well, we've done several Roland Emmerich films, and I love him, for the most part. 10,000 BC was a tough one to swallow for me. That was a bad movie, so I was like, let's go back to where it all began. So we watched one of his earlier movies that may or may not have been made here. I feel like it might not have been, but also there's actors that were definitely here, so I was confused. And it's shot in Los Angeles, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100% shot in Los Angeles.
Okay, that's what because it was driving. I was like, I think I know these places. Anyhow, this movie's called Ghost Chase. However...
Or Hollywood Monster.
Yeah, which I think is almost better because there's almost no chasing of ghosts in this movie. There's zero chase. There's hardly ghosts. So,
it is one of the weakest points of the movie is the bad title.
Yeah, for sure, because it doesn't actually make sense to the film.
No.
But Hollywood Monster would be good, I think. That makes sense.
I had a feeling Ghostbusters, it came out on video here as Ghost Chase in 1990, came out in Germany in 1987, hour and 29 minutes.
Yeah, nice and quick.
It was a US-Germany co-production. I liked everything about this movie.
Oh, that is interesting. I did not expect that, if I'm being honest.
No.
I will say in my general overview of the movie, I thought it came out the gates swinging.
Sure.
The first 20 to 25 minutes of this movie, I was like, I'm going to love this movie. And I'm bummed I didn't see it when I was younger because this guy's house is fucking incredible. We'll talk about it, but it was the coolest house in the world. And then the ghost comes, and I thought the movie screeched to a halt. The rest of the movie to me is trash. I was like, this is boring. Nothing's happening. There's no ghost fun. This is a stupid movie. And I was mad the rest of the time.
I can see that you having that opinion. And I understand it. And I'm not going to fault you for it. But I was talking to me and Shannon were walking, and she was all like, the movie you should do is Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion.
We should do that movie. Yeah.
And I was like, the reason why we haven't done that movie, maybe we'll do it at some point, is there's nothing really there, right?
Yeah. Including jokes. So.
Jokes. And it's like, at least with like Pluto Nash, the Eddie Murphy movie, there was a lot to beat up on that movie. There was just so much weird stuff in that movie, and a lot of it not good and painful. Yeah. And you could just see money pouring down drains for no reason and giant sets being built for no reason. Then you get a movie like this, a little movie that has to make do with what it has.
Sure.
And it also has this sort of logical consistency within itself, right? When you look at a huge Hollywood movie, you're like, why doesn't this make sense? Why doesn't this make sense? Why does it's like they can address everything. A little movie like this can't address everything, and so they just do stuff.
So they just don't try. And you're saying that that's okay?
I think so. I think it is okay.
Oh, Dan.
Because it fits into the zeitgeist of what this movie does not say that it's going to be the movie that's lasting forever. This is the movie that's supposed to come out in summer. You see it in summer. You're like, oh, okay, we ate some popcorn. We saw this weird movie, and then we left. It's not.
And then you never think about it again. I have a problem with that.
Oh, I will. No, see, that's where I disagree. There's lots to think about in this movie.
There's two things that I think about, and we'll get to one of them right off the top. But yeah. I'll wait until you start your little walkthrough of the movie before I get too mean.
So we start this funky music.
Best
Funky
part
music.
of the movie.
The music.
As far as I can tell, did they only pay for one real song? Which is fine. I'm not judging that.
Their main song called Imagination.
Imagination. I've been listening to it all night.
Did you find who made that song?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull it back up. I've got it on the YouTubes right here. It is, oh boy, Belouise Sum. I might be saying that wrong. If it's German, I apologize. If it's American and I'm an idiot, I apologize even more. But it's Belouise Sum Imagination. You can find it on YouTube. There's apparently an 8-minute cut of the music video that was considered too racy. And so they had to get rid of it and cut it down to 5 minutes. I'm still looking for the longer version so I can see what's going on.
So we start off with this song, Imagination. Imagination. And it's right up there with Howard the Duck as one of the best.
100%.
And because of that, they use it at the beginning. They use it once in the middle, and they use it at the end. 3 times they get this. They rock this baby out there. And the other music of the movie, super, super weird and interesting.
It is weird, Dan.
And it's like when they're doing the sort of comedic thing, they'll be like boop 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 boop
yep.
boop boop. And I loved it. It was just like, okay,
it's very quirky. The music is my favorite part of the film through and through. Like it never disappointed me like all of the other facets of the movie did. I thought that they stuck to their guns, and I was like, good for you guys. I don't understand all the choices you made, but I support you.
And I'm going to tell a story that I think I've told on here before.
Please do.
Is we all went to go see our buddy Harrison do comedy at the Comedy Store, right? Is that where it was? The Comedy Store? Is that what that was? You were with us. Whatever.
Yeah,
it was the one on Beverly or on Melrose.
Yeah.
Whatever. Comedy Store, whatever.
There's a lot of comedy places.
First time I'd ever been to a comedy show in my entire life. Actually, only time I've ever been to a stand-up comedy show in my entire life.
That actually surprises me a good deal, Dan.
Yeah, never been to one before.
All right.
We're there, and they do these stand-up things, and you're like, ugh. And then this one weird guy comes up, and he just starts talking about like the donuts he ate that day, and just starts like listing like his life. And me and Johnny Mankey were there. I don't know about the rest of you, but and Elko too. Elko was losing it. We were dying. We were dying because it was different.
It's not something that you would go to a club to see, and then when it's there, you're like, what's happening? I don't understand what's happening right now.
And when I get into a true what's happening moment and I don't understand, although I understand the references, it's just you're just like, what is happening? This is so weird.
Yeah.
That's what this kind of movie is to me. You're just like.
But to be clear, you guys only people laughing in the whole club. Okay. I'm sure that's not totally true, but it did not get a great response.
We were dying. Everyone else was like, what is wrong with those guys?
Yeah. Where are the jokes? What's happening? This is a stand-up show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a meta-ness to a movie like this, just like Mac and Me, where it's a pastiche of a thing that's taken it in this weird direction. And I'm just like, I'm in for this because 10,000 BC is just boring. They're like, we're going to make this action scene. And we're just so
and then they don't.
bored.
They don't.
These birds are going to kill our main character. Do not care.
Not care.
And this thing, I loved it. And especially, like you said, the first 20 minutes, you're really in that zone.
And then problem. Oh, sorry. You say it.
No, and then it becomes a little more, okay, we're going to go from A to B to D.
Yeah, like it's the first 20 minutes, it's so weird. It's so quirky. There's jokes that don't make any sense, but I love them. At one point, he slams the table and a script falls out of the sky into his hand.
That's the best part of the whole movie.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. And then it just, all of that fun stuff stops. Yeah. Once the ghost is there, they're just like, okay, now we're just going to focus on this monster that we clearly spent a bunch of money on making, and he's not going to say any jokes. We're going to give him a weird, shitty voice with a lisp that I don't understand. Why did you make that choice? Oh, you didn't make my teeth correct, sir. What's happening, Dan? I don't know. It goes off the rails, and they never pull it back, and I miss the first 20 minutes. I miss it.
So we're setting up. We think we're in the middle of a slasher movie, and then boom, we're not. They're making the slasher movie. We pull back. We've got the slasher guy, our main guy, whose name is Warren.
There's names?
There's names. His name is Warren.
Okay.
Then the other guy, his cousin. They're cousins.
No.
Yes, they're cousins.
Wait.
I read that somewhere. That they're cousins.
No. They can't. What? But only one of them is getting an inheritance from his grandpa, right?
Yeah, but he's your cousin, so maybe. Do cousins have the same grandpa?
Yeah, usually.
Not if they're on the other side. The other side.
Unless it's like cousins by marriage. Is that a thing?
Somebody said they were cousins. I could be wrong.
No, because you say that, and that's in the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm confused a little.
That's Fred, and then the girl is Fred. Lori. Yeah. And so Warren is all over Lori, sticking his tongue down her throat, and she gets disgusted, and she's just like, I'm outie, and hits the road.
Hold on. You're kind of skating over a lot of sexual assault real quick.
Yes, he's horrible.
But here's the thing, is they're making the movie, and in the movie scene that they're making, he's like groping her, and she's like, no, I'm watching a movie. No, I'm watching a movie. And you're like, oh man, this guy's terrible. And then they're like, oh, just kidding, it's a movie. And then he does the same thing in the real life of the movie and assaults her after they're done filming. And I was like, so he's just a shitbird? What's going on here? Very weird.
I was watching one review of this, and they were all like, this guy's the most terrible character ever. And he's not good. He's not good.
He's a terrible guy. And they do this at the end. I'm sorry, Dan, I'm going to skip all over because this movie is crazy. At the end, they kiss, and it's like there's a romantic song in the background, and I'm supposed to cheer for them. And I'm like, no. This guy's he's a horrible human being, and he's basically ground her down so that she'll finally just kiss him because, everything else in her life is terrible.
And, like in a normal movie, the girl would like maybe sort of be with the one guy and then the other guy would be with the other guy. And no, this movie doesn't do anything like that. There's no character development. Nothing happens
There's
like that.
Zero character development. Nobody changes even one tiny bit.
Not at all. And that's how it's very much like real life. So the other thing is that there's like African-American kid and this other kid that are like working the camera wearing sunglasses. Who we never see again. Wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, that's right.
They're making a movie at night with like it's a big 16 millimeter camera, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a nice camera.
Rolling 16 millimeter film.
You're right. I forgot he had sunglasses. That's so funny. Why?
Two of the kids had sunglasses, and the other three kids disappear. We never see
them again
at all.
They're not friends.
No. So the
And
girl,
also, the other kids feel very young, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, they're very young.
But then these two main guys who also feel very young to me, I should have looked up how old they were when this movie had. They're talking about bills.
Yes, they go outside.
What the fuck?
The girl leaves, and then they open the mailbox in the middle of the night, and he's like, the director Fred, he's all like, bills, off of these bills. And then the other kid's like, give me those. And he starts like then going through the bills as if he's going to pay the bills,
That's
even
what
though
I'm
they have
saying.
no money.
First of all, do they own this house? Like, I don't even understand who they are. What are the bills for, Dan? You don't get that many bills.
Oh, the bills are for all their movie making stuff.
So it's like credit cards, you think?
Yeah.
But then also maybe mortgage. I don't know. I think they have a car. I don't have any idea how
Tony,
old they are.
Do they have a car?
I think so, right? Don't they drive?
No, Tony. They have a hearse.
Oh, they have a hearse. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. And it's beautiful. I will say that.
So he's going. So the director kid, Fred, goes inside, and he sits in this chair in his room, which is a robot chair, which goes like.
It's fucking incredible.
Actually, we've got to talk about one quick thing.
Okay.
Was this on videotape? Was this a DVD? It's the worst quality movie I've ever seen.
It was a DVD, but it's clearly just a straight rip from a VHS.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. I don't even. Is it a real release? I can't tell you, Dan. It came in a package, and I just put it on my computer. I don't know.
I wish somebody does need to restore this movie, because I would like to see it where you can see what the frick is going on.
Sure,
a lot
that would help.
Lost.
Yeah, well, it's very dark. They couldn't afford lights on set. So.
Nope. So he gets in this robot chair. It takes him down to the refrigerator. It spins him around, and then he eventually gets frustrated for no reason, and then leaves the room.
Yeah, but the room is so cool. And they have, like, his whole house is decked out in horror memorabilia.
Their
I was
house.
just like...
Their house.
Their house. You're right. The cousins. What the hell? But there's some sort of doll on the door that's like a dead... It's awesome. It's the coolest house I've ever seen, and I wish that I lived there.
And that's the other thing is, we have no understanding how they live there. We don't worry about them going to school. We don't worry about anything of the reality of their lives.
Are they in school? I feel like they're 25, but they look 12. It's very confusing.
So Warren's going through the bills, finds an invitation to the reading of a will tomorrow.
Yeah, so how long do you think that's been in the mail, Dan? I mean, weeks?
I don't know. We also don't. It's for the grandfather, but at first I thought it was for his father, and he
keeps saying "my old man." I feel like he said that several times in the film, and I guess maybe he just means like grandpa by the old. His dad's just like a man, and then his grandpa's an old man. And
more importantly, he literally does not care that his grandfather is dead. He's like, oh yeah, he died, and I didn't care.
Right. Did he know beforehand?
Well, he knew he was dead.
He knew he was dead? All right.
Because he'd been dead for a while, but then
with the will...
Oh, because the will wasn't he must be 21.
Oh, so you think
because
he turns 21 and he gets the will. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what it was. They said
so that solves all my problems. So they're 21 years old.
21 years old.
They own a house, a beautiful hearse. They have a 16 millimeter camera that's, I don't know, $30,000, $45,000. They can afford film reels to just waste on shitty movies. I mean, I get it. These kids are rich as fuck.
But they don't have any money. They spend all the money on the movie making.
Of course they don't. Have you seen the house?
Right. So they drive up in Sunset Boulevard in the hearse. They go they go into the lawyers where they're wearing sunglasses inside.
Yeah, a lot of that. You're right.
I broke down. Hello, son. Fuck your family. Wait, what? What is that? I don't even. Why did I write that down?
This is because it's a great line in this movie. He's reading the will, and he's like, hello, blah, blah, blah. I think it's time that you find out a little bit more about your fucked up family.
Fucked up family. That's what it was.
So it was the hardest I laughed in the whole movie.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
So basically, and this is another thing I love about this movie. We're about to read the will. It's just Warren in there. Fred's out waiting. And then, boom, Warren comes back out the door. We don't have the reading of the will. We do this a number of times in the movie. We're getting to the point where the stuff you normally show us in a movie, but they just cut away from that.
We just skip that part because we don't need that part.
We actually don't need that part because it's more interesting to have Fred have to drag it out of Warren what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's kind of him almost working through it as opposed to just us being told it and then watching him figure it out. It's like we're figuring it out with him. It's very interesting. I don't know.
It's really an interesting film technique, and they do it a number of times in the movie.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Information is hard to come by.
And you have to you're going to have to put this puzzle together yourself.
Yeah.
They're not going to just hand it to you.
Yeah, it's fun.
So then we see the guy from Breakfast Club pulls up in the limo behind them and is glaring at them.
And he's so obvious. He's just so out in the open while he's doing this. He pulls up literally behind him. It's not like they're hiding a few cars back. He's literally 3 feet from the guy just staring out the window at him. Nobody seems to care. Nobody pays any mind to this guy.
Of course. It's so good. So what he ended up with was a pawn ticket. So they go to the pawn shop. And by me saying they go to the pawn shop, it means they go to this wall that has a sliding door in it.
There are no items anywhere. This is not a pawn shop. I've been to a pawn shop, Danny. Usually there's items that you can purchase, but nope, not here.
They're like, we do not want to pay a pawn shop to film in. We're just going to set this thing up. Boom, the
probably
door.
Just someone's garage, and they just built like a little window thing. Yeah.
Pound, pound, pound on the door. Up comes the window. Guy with a shotgun pointed in their faces.
Weirdest guy you'll ever see in your life. This guy's face, I've never seen anything like it, Dan. It's so I can't even describe it. It's the most bizarre face I've ever seen, and I loved it. And I think this guy needs more work.
More work for him. He's probably dead. So
well, sure. I wish he would have gotten more work during his alive years. That would have been nice. What we missed is a good joke when they're leaving to go to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
One of them is like, "Oh, we gotta go pick up your pawn ticket." And he's like, "No. I got a pawn ticket that I have to pay for." That's how cheap this guy was. I have to pay the $20 to retrieve an item that I don't even know what it is. I thought that was good too. That was very funny to me.
So they get the thing, they give the money, Warren has $8, and then Fred has to come up with the rest of the $22.50 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They get it. What the item is a suitcase. Inside the suitcase, a bunch of old photographs and an old clock.
It's a nice clock.
It's a nice clock.
I wonder if Robin Williams made it. That was a reference to the... to the robot clockmaker. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Man. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Bicentennial Man. Great clocks.
So he calls. So he's like, I gotta call the girl for. I don't even know why we need the girl.
They have to get her back in the movie. I don't know what it's. It's not related to anything they're doing right now, but they're still very focused on getting her back in the movie. I don't know.
So he walks over to a payphone. I'm like, okay, and then Fred is there with the case, and the limo pulls over, rolls down the window, and tries to wrest the case out of his hands.
But so slowly. So everything happens so like the limo pulls up very slowly as if it's sneaking, as if they're like, if we move slow enough in this giant limo, this kid will not see us. The window rolls down and the guy's hands just slowly come out, and then he grabs it and yanks. And I lost my shit, man. It's so funny. I've never seen that. I've never seen something so stupid and beautiful in my life as this scene. The kid would have seen it. The kid, this guy, he would not miss a limo pulling up right next to him and hands reaching out of the window. It's brilliant. It's great.
Oh, it's so good. So then we cut back. He doesn't get the thing. He's back in his office, and this is Stan Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's talking about piranha fish. There's this whole piranha fish thing that is very weird.
And it really pays off at the end.
does, Tony.
It's such a great runner that pays off in the end.
So he gets this guy, Carl, who's a kraut. You know what a kraut is?
Yeah, he's a German guy.
German, exactly.
Sauerkraut.
So he's got to follow the kids, which means...
Can we talk about the German guy for a second, though?
Yes.
He never closes his mouth. I don't think in the entire movie his mouth is ever closed. He's always mouth just agape.
I think he's like a grip or something. He's like another guy, and they're just like, "You're gonna do this."
They get to the scene, and they're like, "Where's our German guy?"
I think
we didn't cast a German guy. All right.
Well, I think they didn't want to pay anybody, and so they just hired one of their German crew to do it.
Oh, it's so good.
So instead of following the kids like he was told, he's going to break in and steal the stuff in the suitcase, which is not what he was told to do, but that's what he's doing.
What's interesting is that the scene before it, the guy is like tells him exactly what to do. He's like, I need you to stay close, follow them, but far enough back that they'll never know. And the next scene, he's breaking in the house, and I was like, wait, what? This guy's going rogue immediately.
So he's in the house, he's picking up all the stuff, all the photographs, and putting them back in the briefcase. Yeah.
Hold on. I have to talk about him breaking into the house because I need you to explain something to me. So he just opens the window, as far as I can tell, right?
Yeah.
He crawls in.
Yeah.
And then the window falls and shatters, right?
Maybe, I don't remember.
It falls, it makes a sound.
Yeah.
And then he's rummaging in the house and he knocks something and another window falls and makes the exact same sound effect. And then fast forward to when he leaves the house, he dives out of the window and we get the same sound effect for the third time as he shatters the window. As far as I can tell, there are 3 window panes that just keep coming down in the same window. And I was just laughing my ass off.
Well, if you know it's going to break, you may as well have a bunch of them there.
Just have a bunch of safety ones lined up. All right, I'm sorry. So he's going through this stuff. He's rummaging through this stuff.
And so while this is happening, Fred is having a dream, and we find out all the information, which is the rich grandpa wanted to keep his money, and so I guess he poisoned the butler, even though... Yeah,
poison wine.
Poison wine, poisoned the butler, and then the butler, he entombed them both in the basement, in the wall behind the basement, in the basement behind a wall.
Now, Dan, I have a serious question for you.
Yes.
Could you understand the grandpa?
The grandpa is one of the weak parts of the movie because the grandpa's acting is like, I am the grandpa. You'll never get my money.
As far as I can tell, you are speaking far more coherently than he ever did. His was like, I'm the grandpa. That's what I heard the whole time. I was like, I wish there were subtitles, but there is no closed captioning on this movie because it's so shitty. I had no idea what he was saying. So I had to fill in the blanks just based on the rest of the movie.
So what happens is, Shannon's plants are spinning. That's very weird. Why is that?
Oh, you got a ghost.
It's very weird. She has 2 plants, and the one just did all this spinning. That's very strange. So the ghost comes out of the ghost of the butler comes out of the thing, out of the clock.
Yeah.
So basically, the ghost butler comes out of the clock from midnight to 1 a.m.
For now.
Every night that they have it.
Changes it.
Well, it comes out from midnight to 1 whenever the clock is here.
Right.
But you could also, if you could just keep him coming out if you kept moving the clock to 1 o'clock.
Yep.
To midnight.
Nothing makes sense. I don't understand the ghost rules of the movie.
Well, the ghost rules are when the hands are both on midnight and it comes out. Not on noon, just on midnight.
No, just on midnight because it's there's definitely a difference in the clock.
Yeah.
But then later there's like a point where he's like, our time is almost up. And then another hour passes and he doesn't disappear. So I don't understand. And then the other ghost is just free to roam around, as far as I can tell. Grandpa Ghost can do whatever the fuck he wants. Sure. I don't know, Dan.
He's not trapped in a clock.
Why is one trapped in a clock and one's just a regular ghost? Doesn't make any sense.
It's the old poison wine.
Oh, poison. That's so it trapped him to the clock with the wine. Got it. Okay.
So Fred sees the ghost, freaks out. I think maybe the ghost said some words to him.
He barely freaks out.
Well, no, he freaks out and he runs away. And what does he do to Warren, Tony?
Oh, yeah, we're already getting to this weird moment. Okay, it's not. Listen, and now they're cousins, which makes it weirder for me. Even when they were just friends, I was like, this is a weird way to wake someone up. So he goes to his cousin friend's room, and he's sleeping. So he straddles him,
jumps on top of him,
jumps on. They're touching tips right now, and then he just kind of bounces on him to wake him up.
It's like Tony's dream that
this is how I want to wake up every morning, guys. If there's any guys out there that want to come over,
Dax
you let
Shepard,
me know.
Which is Dax Shepard. Dick was rubbing against.
Listen, I'll take any of those top 10 from the boys, Tony's Boys Toys. You come on over. You call me.
So he's freaking out, and Warren doesn't even really react to this. He's just kind of like, "What?"
If somebody jumped on me to wake me up, Dan, they're going across the room. I'm pushing them off as fast as I can, just because out of reaction. You're dead asleep. If someone jumps on you and scares you, you're gonna freak out a little bit. This guy's just like, yeah, this is normal.
So they go out there looking for the ghost, and the burglar, Carl takes off, and I guess he just leaves everything, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, because he dives out the window that's already been broken twice.
And then the ghost runs out of time and goes back into the clock.
Yep. And this is the end of the movie. This is the last scene of the movie that I enjoyed.
Oh, that's not true.
I think it is. Well, no. I think it is.
Yes, you like this next scene for sure. So then we go back to the bad guy. He refers to someone as a lame dirt brain.
Dirt brain. And then, I feel like he's improvising these lines because they're not smooth. He took a moment. He's like, I'm surrounded by lame dirt brains. And I was like, what is that? That's not even a good insult. Took you that long to think of that?
And then we have some more things about the piranhas. Then we'd have breakfast with the kids. They have...
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
All these different boxes of cereal around.
Yeah.
All from the time period, which I was like, that's cool. Bunch of 1987 cereal boxes.
Yeah, you did love that. Fun. You were like, I know that one. I know that one. I know that one.
Warren's making his cereal with beer.
Classic 21-year-old behavior.
They have this weird little castle coffee pot where they push a button and it goes...
Which is incredible.
Starts giving them coffee.
Very cool.
Like, what the heck? Is that something that's real, or is this something they built for the movie? I'll never know.
I think they built it. That's just my guess. I don't know.
And then he's like, I had this dream about... See, this is what's really interesting. Fred is dreaming about Warren's grandfather.
But if they're cousins, it's the same grandpa. I don't understand.
It's kind of weird. And then he's like, oh...
what's a second cousin? Let's talk about genealogy. I got to figure this out, Dan. This is bothering me a lot.
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. All right.
So, let's see. Where are we at? Oh, Castle Coffee Pot.
Sorry, we're at breakfast.
And he's like, this would make a great movie, my dream. And he's like, yes, maybe you should work on the script. Then he holds out his hand and the script falls
just one hand
out of the sky.
He slams the table. He hits the table with his left hand, holds out his right hand. The script falls into his hand. It's so funny. But what I genuinely appreciate is the reverse shot of the other cousin looks up as if to wonder where it came from. And I was like, you sold it. You sold it for me. Because I'm not the only one wondering where the fuck it came from. He's also like, what the hell just happened? You sold it for me. Great job. 100% nailed it.
So then he goes and stalks the girl. She's at an audition. He's trying to...
He's so creepy, Dan.
Of course
this guy is so creepy.
He
follows her.
That's how you're going to get a girl unless you keep working it.
Nope, that's not how you do it. I've tried it.
Never stop.
Take
never surrender.
For an answer.
So showing her the script. She's like, we got this script. We got a part for you. And then she goes into the audition.
Yep.
And then we cut, and she's coming out of the audition. We never see what happens in the audition because, he follows her in.
Yes. He follows her into an audition. I would murder someone. I would kill somebody. Don't you ever do that to me, Dan.
I'm going to do that. It'll be hilarious. And then they're going to hire me for the job. And
yeah,
you're going to be put in your place.
I'll be like, oh, well, there you go.
So,
Dan's
of course, he has completely screwed up her audition. And so she's pissed. She gets in her little Carmen Gia, takes off. And then he chases her with the bike on a bike, and then eventually
He's the fastest bicyclist in the world. He's chasing down a car going 40, 45 miles per hour.
he crashes. We cue the imagination music, imagination.
Yeah, which I'm just rocking out to.
And then since he crashed, she stops and goes over there and cares for him.
Hold on, but you're underselling the crash. He's going 30 miles per hour easy. He runs straight into a fence and is launched over the fence.
Yeah,
he's dead. No. He's dead. But then, great joke, holds up the script and he's like, I'm okay. Made me laugh.
So now we get a scene of Fred in the hardware store shoplifting a bunch of stuff because he's going to build a robot.
He brought an oversized jacket and he's just stealing shit because these kids are the worst kids in the world.
So he's building a robot and Laurie's reading the script. And then Laurie comes over and then we see the clock and it says that it's almost midnight, but then she says, oh, that's not what time it actually is.
Yep.
And then it hits.
I don't get it.
It hits midnight, and the ghost, and he's still hitting on her, being a total creep.
Yeah, he never stops harassing her.
And so he looks up and he sees the ghost tendrils coming out of the thing, and his first instinct is to make it so that she cannot see that there's a ghost coming out of the clock.
Yes, and how does he do that? He does that by grabbing her face violently and not letting her look anywhere but into his eyes. That's not okay behavior. Okay.
So the ghost butler gets out of the clock. She doesn't see it. And then the ghost goes into the robot, which is shaped exactly like the ghost butler. And then the ghost butler is made corporeal by living in a robot.
Which is weird. And let me tell you why it's weird. I'm okay with the idea of it. Yep. Why does the guy look like that in real life then? Because he modeled it after the picture, right?
He modeled it after what he saw.
His dream.
No, when he saw the ghost. Fred saw the ghost the first night, yeah.
But that means that that's what he looked like in real life because the grandpa looks like the grandpa.
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter, Dan?
The butler has become what he looks like. The ghost butler is desiccated and weird looking.
But why? The grandpa's fine.
Well, he wasn't poisoned with wine.
Don't stop using poison wine.
Well, probably because
he wasn't poisoned with wine.
You know, he sat there as he died, and then he desiccated, and then his ghost desiccated with it. Just the grandpa's too crazy.
Here's the thing, Dan. I don't know if you remember this, but in the pawn shop, I'm putting quotes around it.
Yeah.
One of them looks at the picture and he's like, "This is my grandpa." And who's that weird thing in the back? That's a butler. And it looks just like he does as the monster.
Well, maybe that's what he looked like.
I'm telling you, that's what they wanted me to think that he looked like in life, and that's not right.
I mean, there's all sorts of diseases. Just because Robin Williams doesn't want to get the makeup doesn't mean this guy doesn't want to get the makeup.
2 shots at Robin today. We're doing great.
Blasting. So the ghost has taken over the robot, and then he also sneezes right when he comes out.
Every time he wakes up now, he sneezes. I don't get it. I don't get the joke. I don't understand it.
So Warren freaks out, and they all go and hide in a closet.
Which, by the way, is a closet that just before the girl comes over, they're like, we got to clean this place up. And they shove so much shit in that closet that it's falling out and he has to close it super fast so the stuff doesn't fall out. But now there is suddenly room for 3 human beings inside the same closet. I don't think so, guys.
So she punches somebody in the face, maybe?
This was my least favorite part of the movie, Dan.
What happens? I don't remember.
The ghost butler just is like is trying to serve her and being nice to her, but she thinks he's coming on to her.
Yeah.
And she punches him in the face. And I was like, girl, you've been sexually harassed the entire movie so far. And the only one you're going to punch is this tiny weird creature? That seems weird.
Poor little butler. And then they sort of decide that he looks harmless. So they look at the clock And then we realizes that he was cheated out of his inheritance, and that the inheritance money is at the grandfather's house.
Well, hold on though, because this is a weird part of the movie. Because the butler is actually talking to the other guy, the non.
Oh, he's talking
recipient.
to Warren. So he's talking to Warren, not Fred.
Yes, the non-harasser. Is that right?
Well, that's Fred is who had the dream.
So he's talking to Fred.
So he's talking to Fred. Okay.
And he's like, "You got robbed of your inheritance."
Oh yeah, he mixes it up and says that Fred
But when
got
he
robbed.
said that, I was like, "Yeah, wait, because they're cousins." So now I don't understand, because they should both get in. I don't know, Dan. It's very weird. But he mixes it up. I mixed it up. They mixed it up. Nobody knows who's getting inheritance.
And it's like there's no reason for the ghost to mix it up, but he does.
It's not a joke.
It's kind of funny.
I'll tell you that right now. There are 0 jokes in the rest of the movie.
So no, there's another joke. I wrote down at least one more joke.
All right, might have been sleeping at that.
Yeah, I wrote right here. I have one right here because I put quotes around the jokes. One right there.
Oh boy,
there's another one. Yes.
Well, I'm looking forward to at least 2 more jokes. This is great.
Okay, so Fred during all this during this day he's built a robot, and he's also made a scale model of the grandfather's house from the dream.
And they both look incredible.
They're incredible.
They're like, this guy should be making a ton of money.
Yeah,
but he's not. He has no money. We've been told that many times.
So basically, they realize that the house is the thing they're looking at, and the kids they have the model, and so they're like, we got to go to Hollywood. And they look out the window, and we have the big sweeping music, and we look out there, and the robot butler looks out there, and he's just like, "What's amazing?" or something like that. It's a really nice moment.
It's a nice moment, and I was like, it's a good thing they did that at night, because Los Angeles looks like shit during the day.
So they drive around, and Warren's trying to get Lewis to chill for no real reason, because Lewis is never not chilling.
Nope, he's like cool as a cucumber all the time. It's very strange.
So they stop literally on Hollywood Boulevard and get out and go into one of these little taco hamburger joints that has bars on the window to ask directions.
Yeah, I don't even remember do they ask, like, have you seen this house? I don't even remember what they're saying.
When they come out, they say they don't speak English, so who even knows?
Yeah, it's a weird scene.
So then,
followed by an even weirder scene.
And then Fred gets out for some reason to go across the street. Maybe he has to make a call or something. He has some weird reason. And then Lewis, the robot butler, starts talking to this weird wino on the street.
Yep.
And then they come out of everybody's out on the across the street, and the hearse pulls around in front of there. Lewis is now driving somehow.
He can't reach the pedals, Dan.
Could not ever reach the pedals in a million years. And he's like, I've solved the problem. So basically the wino has told him exactly what he needs to know.
But we didn't see that part.
No, we missed all that.
We missed the part where he somehow solves the mystery. And that bothered me this time. It worked last time, but this time it was just like, what? They couldn't think of a scene to do it.
No, but the wino said, I've lived here my entire life or something.
But how long has his entire life been?
Long enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Was.
I guess.
Yes. So, so they drive around, and then they see the movie studio. They see Stan Gordon Pictures, and he's like,
"Yep,
it is right there. That is." And then we hit 1:00 in the morning, and he stiffens up, and he falls
dies.
over, and so they have to put him. Well, they eventually put him in the coffin in the back of the hearse.
Oh, I forgot they did that. That's funny.
They don't show that happening, but he's in the coffin.
He's in there later. Yeah, you missed a good joke, guys.
And so they're like, "Oh, see, another joke, Tony."
No, they missed the joke, Dan. They missed it. Because it should be them being like, what do we do? What do we do? And then they put the dead thing in a coffin. There's the joke.
You missed the joke.
Screenshot.
I think you missed the joke.
I missed a lot of jokes.
And he's gone, and I think someone says, what a wimpy ghost.
Yeah, no, they do.
Look, you're laughing because that was a joke.
No, I'm laughing because what's weird is this is the only time it happens now. The rest of the time, he seems to be awake for days on end.
No, but that's the final hour of the movie.
Yeah, you're telling me we do that part in real time? No, wrong.
So Laurie has to go back to the diner. Boss yells at her. I guess the boss was the guy that played Porky in the Porky's movie.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I haven't seen Porky's in 20, 30 years.
Then we have this humorous library montage where they go around.
We have to go back to her getting fired, or her being at the diner. Is this where she gets fired?
She doesn't get fired. She gets fired late the second time.
Okay, then we'll talk about it then, because it's crazy.
There's another sassy waitress, and the boss is like, "You're always showing up late. Right. I'm gonna can you."
Yeah.
Library montage, books, library stuff. They're trying to figure things out.
And they get a lot of books. Dan. There's like 50 to 100 books on their cart. They're never going to read those.
And then the girl gets a call. Oh my God, it's a part. So she like rushes out. This is
what we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's at her job. She's at work.
Yeah.
She gets the phone rings. The other waitress gets it and it's like, "Hey, it's for you."
See, Tony, you don't understand this because this never happens to you.
Oh, Dan, that's a low blow. All right, that's a low blow, Dan. So they call her at work, which is very strange.
Why?
But I guess in landlines, maybe that's possible. But yeah. So here's the thing. So she gets on the call. The boss says, "Hey, no personal calls." And then they give him attitude. And I was like, well, no, that's a good rule. Don't take personal calls at work.
Listen to Tony's rules. Rules. Let me talk about rules. My name is Tony.
There's very simple etiquette at work. But then she books the job and she leaves work. She is in the middle of a shift. She just walks out the door. And then he's like, "Hey, you're fired." And the other waitress is like chill out.
Yeah.
No, she's fired, Dan. She left her shift in the middle of a shift. She's fired. She's out.
Tony,
don't vilify the boss who has to fire this woman for leaving her job.
Tony,
I don't appreciate it. That's all I'm saying.
Tony, I understand you love Elon Musk and you're like want to put down labor, but get over yourself. You know, like people got to live their lives. And
me and the Musket Man, we're close.
You and the white ape.
Him and I have similar body shapes now, and he should be ashamed of that. Did you see the picture of him on the yacht this week?
Yes, so terrible.
Oh boy, he does not look good.
So at the library, they figure out that Stan Gordon scammed their grandfather out of his house, his land, his something. Somehow.
See that? Yeah, the movie explains it just about as much as you did there, and I don't understand what's happening.
No,
I don't get it. And then I don't know, man. I don't understand that.
So then we cut to Stan Gordon's office, and he is like rubbing on this ape statue. Ape statue that's about 16 inches tall, and then the girl is there, and he's like, "I'm going to give you a part, but you got to do me a favor." And of course, the favor is to get the clock or to get the information or to get to something.
It's one of the two, yeah.
We don't really have that because she storms out. And then he's like, "You'll never work in this town again."
Here's what I don't understand, Dan. I thought when she storms out, I thought that maybe she just assumed he meant sex. No. And so she stormed out. You're saying that you think that they had the exchange where he's just like, "Hey, I'll give you a part if you give me a fucking clock." And she storms out.
Or
I would give him every clock in the world to get a job.
That's who you are, Tony. That's not who she is.
I'll take all of your clocks.
She's principal.
Without even telling you. I'll break your window 3 times to get in. I'll steal your clocks, and I'll give them to anyone who wants them.
Clock boy. So she goes by the receptionist, and then the bad guy comes out, and then he yells at the receptionist, "Wipe that village idiot grin off of your face." That's a joke.
It's not. Is it? Is it a joke, Dan?
Maybe not. So then the boys hear about this, and so they go over to his office. Or no, they don't hear about it, but they go over to his office.
They just show up.
And then they do this whole really unfunny safety inspection bit on this receptionist desk, which was so terrible.
And she falls for it, I guess,
no.
Even though they look like they're 12 years old and don't know jack squat.
So all they're doing is searching for the button that'll open his door. They push the button. They go into the door. They confront him. And he's like, "Oh, statute of limitations." And I really like this scene. I like this scene because it was so weird. You don't really have like the main characters go and confront the villain for an unknowable reason.
Well, yeah, but you know why you don't do that, Dan?
Why?
Because it doesn't work. It falls flat, and this is a stupid scene. Just skip it. You don't need it. Nothing happens in the scene. We don't make any progress.
We don't.
This scene lifts right out of the movie. Don't do it. Filmmakers, don't do the scene. Dan might think it's quirky. Don't do it.
So he's all like, here's the offer. If you, I don't know what he wants. I don't know exactly what Stan wants.
Nobody
But
knows.
basically, he's like, if you do what I tell you, I'll give you a contract to make a movie. And then Warren's like, screw you, we're leaving. And he's like, it doesn't even matter because the money is hidden in the basement of the house, which was torn down.
That is correct. Yeah.
So basically, he's giving the bad guy all the information
just
because
tells
he's an
him
idiot.
exactly what he wants to know. Yeah. That's correct.
I love that aspect of it. That was hilarious. Yes. I can tell another story from
please.
the olden days. We used to play there are Dungeons and Dragons.
Great. Yeah.
And so we were fighting this ogre. We killed this ogre. We were inside a castle. And then to spite the bad guys, I cut off the head of the ogre and threw it back over the wall.
Dan, you were such a badass.
My character was a badass. Well,
Wow.
the ogre had regeneration.
Oh, shit.
So he just regenerated and then attacked us again. So don't do that. Don't tell
That's
the
right.
bad guy where the money is.
That's right. Bad move. Bad move.
Okay. So, of course, Fred wants to say yes and make the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably the right
Because
thing to do.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, again, motivations. It's weird, but like his strong motivation throughout most of this movie is to make his movie.
Yeah.
Even though we know it's a terrible movie he's making. We got to see a little bit of it, Dan. It's not good. He's not going to sell it.
No.
I'll just tell you that right now.
So Laurie's watching another movie and she sees the house and then she realizes that the house is on the back lot. And so she goes to the guy's place. Carl grabs her. He's got a gun. And then the clock strikes and here comes the butler.
Yep.
Ooh. And the butler calls Carl a Hun, like Attila the Hun, I think.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense, I guess, in a way.
And then he goes through a door, and then he hits Carl in his nuts with a baseball bat. You must have loved that.
Okay, here's the problem with it. The nuts thing is fine. I do like a good nut shot, but then that's not the only thing he does with the stick.
What's he do with the stick?
He hits him in the nuts, and then he bends over, and he's like, ooh, and then he just pokes him in the face with the stick, and that's when he falls over.
What does the butler do? What does he say?
I don't remember what he says. I don't remember. Ooh, yeah, it's something like he hits him, he's like, ooh, and then he just pokes him. Like he hits him in the nuts, which is a great shot, and then he just pokes him.
You got to do this makeup and do the butler. That's what you got to do for Halloween.
I'll do the butler for you.
So our boys drive to the back lot, and then they see, boom, there it is. They see the house, and then Stan's workers are loading it with dynamite to blow it up.
Yeah, I got confused. Why are they doing this?
I have no idea.
Okay, I thought I missed something because all of a sudden there's like 30 guys and they're rolling on it. Like there's a camera, they're rolling on it. There's lights, and then they're gonna blow it up. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
So the bad guy thinks that there's lots of money in the house. So instead of continuing to search for the money, he's decided to blow the house up out of spite.
But then you're going to ruin the money.
There it is.
It's a bad plan.
So they go in. The girl falls into the back, and they get inside the house. They get in the basement of the house. They find some movie props down there,
which is pretty cool.
And then they move the thing, and they're like going to go through the wall. So they're picking through the wall, and then the craziness happens. Hands attack. We have Grandpa there. We have comical music, and then we learn right in this really quickly. Lewis Butler is standing there and he's can't react because the grandfather still has the sway over him. And our boys say the line, which is the whole line of the movie, you got to stand up for yourself. That's what this movie's about. It's about standing up for yourself.
Here's the thing. You can't say that the movie's about it because I didn't even get the message.
Well, you weren't listening.
I wasn't listening. I shut down. I'm not going to lie to you, Dan. I did shut down during this movie a little bit.
You shut down right when it gets good.
No, I shut down when it stopped being good at around minute 24.
Oh, Tony froze.
Oh, no.
Oh, Tony, you're so frozen. This is how you're frozen, Tony. Look at Tony. You're pretty frozen, Tony. We're going to have to start over again? Looks like we're starting over again. I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching anything. I'm yawning. Tony's back. No, Tony's still frozen.
Hey.
No, he is back.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, look, it's clicking off again. Ticking off.
Yeah. Seems like it's still working. All right. Anyhow.
So the grandpa's there. He's being all grandpa weird. We start the comical music. And that's the thing. We kind of go between like boop, beep, boop, 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 and then real music. We kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, because we don't know if we're in danger or not.
What the mood is, yes.
Yeah.
So we start with there's a ghost axe. Then he takes over the armor, and then Fred like smacks him and beats him, but not.
Well, so there's a point where someone stabs the armor, right?
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
First of all, Fred hits it with the thing, and it comes back together.
Yeah, okay.
Then we sort of see the clock, and I'm like, oh, it's about the clock, but it's
not about the clock.
They don't do anything with the clock.
Right, because it's not about the clock, Dan. The clock doesn't matter.
And then Lewis finally stands up for himself and sticks him with the thing in the back.
And then there's this weird gold light that comes out of the ghost armor.
Yeah.
Which meant nothing, because then the armor just comes back together.
And then, yes, the armor just fixes itself again. And
so
then
I don't understand what's happening.
Then Lewis says, nobody likes me. I'm going to die.
Oh, wait. So hold on.
Does Lewis say that? I think it does.
Yes. No, Lewis doesn't say that.
Fred says it.
Fred. He gets knocked down onto this bed thing.
You like
tied up.
Spikes are coming down.
Dropping on him. And this, I will say, this made me laugh a lot because the acting in this scene is some of the worst acting you'll ever see. And because he's just like, oh no, I'm going to die. Somebody do something.
Well, he's like the lever. Don't clip the lever. Oh, they went the lever again. The lever, it's sort of the comedic interplay of lever on, lever off.
Yeah, it's the weirdest scene I've ever seen in my life. There's no real danger ever because he doesn't feel like he's in danger. He's fine. So it's super strange.
They give him the clock, and then the spikes coming down poke the clock. And then that's the curse is
now,
over.
How does that stop the bed from dropping since it was a lever that they had to pull? Can you explain that to me, Dan?
Tony.
The kid's dead. Okay, that spike went through his heart.
Tony.
That's all I'm going to say.
Tony.
What?
Things in life you can't explain.
But I can explain it because it's a mechanical device that you pull a lever to start and stop. It is in the start mode, and nobody stopped it. He's dead.
All while they're getting ready to blow up the house. Lewis is dying, and he's like, "Goodbye, sir. Goodbye.
Yeah, why doesn't he die immediately?
I don't know.
Grandpa disappears like in an instant, but it's not even his clock.
Oh,
he's
'cause
not attached to the clock.
Grandpa had been
But Lewis,
stabbed.
who is attached to the clock, dies slower. That doesn't make any sense, Dan.
See, Tony, I love it how you're like caring about things making sense. Usually you don't care about things making sense.
But in a movie,
So Lewis is dying, and one of them says, "Don't you want to be a movie star?" to Lewis.
What?
So the kids find some keys. There's a boom. Don't really know what these keys are for. I thought they were going to go like out a back staircase, but they didn't have that, so they just end up in the same place that they are.
Yeah, it's like a back cellar, that type of room. Yeah.
And then Laurie started crying, thinking Warren is dead. And then Warren wakes up, and here's another good joke. And he's like, I think my foot's asleep.
I think my foot's asleep. Oh, fuck you, kid.
You son of a bitch, she says. I was like, that's great. And then they kiss because she's in love with him because he's the man.
Which I just don't believe. I'm sorry. He didn't earn that.
Then we have a bunch of a montage of newspaper headlines, which you can't read because they're half off the screen.
You can't read it. And I tried, and I was like, what's happening? And then they cut to the guy getting arrested, and I was like, what the fuck I don't understand the wrap-up of the movie.
And then we have the limo, and they're in the back, and I wrote they kissed again. Maybe they kissed.
Oh, yeah, they kiss a bunch now.
And then Fred says he misses Lewis, but then Lewis is driving the limo.
He's driving the limo. What are you talking about, Dan? This doesn't make any sense.
And then Fred does this whole thing where he's like, and the movie will be Lewis, and he will be the commander of the Starship Hydra, and he will this, and he will that, and he will this.
It's a terrible movie synopsis.
Terrible bitch.
It's so bad. I don't know why. Did they think this part was a joke? Because it doesn't come off as a joke, but it's also so bad that I was like, this kid's never going to make any money in his entire life.
They're not going to make good movies.
It is ridiculous. Also, we skipped over the part in the room. They find like bearer bonds. What did they find?
Like stocks or bearer bonds.
Okay. All right. I didn't, and they're just burning them, which I thought was funny.
Well, he thought they were paper and they needed to see what's going on. They end up burning two of them, which was very funny.
And I think they said they were like $50,000 a piece. So they torched $100,000.
No, they didn't completely burn up the second one.
Do you think you could give like half a bond?
I don't know. Maybe we'd find out. So they got the money, they got the studio, guy gets the girl, Fred's going to get to make movies, and Lewis is back to drive them around, sir.
And nothing makes any sense.
Need to go.
Nice.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to make sense because life doesn't make sense, Tony.
Okay, but if I wish that life didn't make sense in this way, where all of a sudden I was mega rich and running a fucking studio and I had a ghost pal. But that's not the kind of nonsense that life is, all right? Oh, boy.
It's only one thing that would have made this movie better is if he'd have blown a balloon, blown a bubblegum bubble, and it blew up and it said, Ghost Chase 2 coming soon to a theater near you. Dan, it would be a perfect movie.
We should make Ghost Chase 2.
We should.
I would do that with you.
I'm stunned at the lack of respect Ghost Chase gets or even like mention on the internet.
I had never heard of it until I did actual Roland Emmerich research. And that is weird to me because it's certainly not the worst movie we've ever done.
Oh, no, it's one of the better movies we've done.
There's like there's a decent amount of fun to be had. I mean, it's not quite Mac and Me, but it is fun. It's a fun movie. I don't know why I've never heard of it.
And I think you're right because it doesn't really escalate the insanity.
No, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Mac and Me escalated the insanity.
It never stops. It starts and it just keeps on going. By the end of it, you're like, what just happened? I don't understand a damn thing. And it's great.
A lot of good stuff in that movie.
The one thing we missed from this movie, and I don't know when it was, it's sometime when they're on the Sunset Boulevard Drive. Yeah. And the girl is running away. She's like, I'm mad at you.
The girl gets pissed at them. She leaves their car. Carl is behind them. She gets in Carl's car, and then he gets
into the bad guy's car.
He drives her to work.
That's so. First of all, it's such a weird scene because she's stomping away mad, and he just opens the door. She runs into the door like she doesn't see the door somehow, and then he's like, "Hello," and she just gets in. She just gets in a stranger's car. That's how you get murdered, people. Okay? Do not do this. This is a bad lesson.
Do not do this.
In a crazy movie, to me, that was the most shocking moment of the movie. And I was like, what just happened?
It was shocking. It was like, this is not good. So it was a fun movie.
It's pretty fun, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that went pretty well.
Yeah. And I wish, they should make a nicer version of this so you can actually see what's going on. I'm sure there were a lot of things about the house that were interesting. And my other favorite thing was at the end, they had to get Lewis to move around. And so they made him into a backpack for Warren because they couldn't have him walking because there would have been too much walking for them.
Well, it's hard. It's hard.
The thing. But the robot's face was really good.
It was really good.
Looked really good. I was like, it almost looked like CGI. You're like, but that's a robot.
It's not. Yeah.
It's nice.
It's good.
Okay. Now's the time of the show where we talk about something we liked this week.
Excellent.
Liked even more.
Yeah, because I didn't dislike the movie.
I watched Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal.
How is it? Pretty good? I imagine it's really good.
I haven't watched the other show. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
It is so insane. He's so insane.
Yeah, that checks out.
Do you know what the premise is?
I mean, not really. I mean, it's them doing a production, like the pre-production of a show, right? No?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, okay. Well, then no, I have no idea.
People have issues. Like if there's something I needed to tell you, Tony, and I didn't want to just tell you.
Yeah,
I'd go to know, and then he sets up a practice. But what he would do is he would make me do this show over and over and over again, where I would practice different jokes. And he flow charts out the practices so that you can get the optimal experience. When they finally do the thing, everything has been all chances have been taken out of the situation.
Sure.
And then they nest these rehearsals inside each other and fake things, and it's insane.
It sounds convoluted.
It's incredibly convoluted. They build sets based on the locations where things happen. I'm going to tell you this.
Happen? Okay.
And so the dude's apartment, he had sent people in before he went there to take pictures of it, and they've recreated it on a soundstage so that he could practice going to meet him for the first time. I'm going to spoil that because I don't care. Because it's the greatest thing ever.
Okay. That's weird.
And there's other things like that get even weirder.
So it's just, Nathan for You was a fun show. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen every episode, but every time I see it, it's funny and it's engaging. It just sounds like he's been let off the leash. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, and it's in some ways it's not played for comedy, and that's what makes it so funny.
Okay.
It's not that he's trying to make jokes. He's just trying to it's almost like mining the concept of reality TV to the umpteenth degree.
Okay.
Where it just becomes what is truth and what is lies, and my God, there's just things in this that you just are like, what the frick is happening?
I don't know if I can handle it, Dan.
You have to watch it.
It sounds like a lot.
The second episode just dropped, and I can't wait. Last night, I think, and so I can't wait to watch it. And I guess the first episode, people were like, "Yeah, this just shows how crazy Nathan is," and then in the second one, it's like, "You will not believe how crazy the person he's working with is."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Oh, sign me up for that shit!"
I am in, guys. Hello.
So what do you got for us, Tony?
Well, we watched a movie this weekend that we really enjoyed. It's by this new upcoming hot action film director. I think his name was Mikhail Bay or something like that. We watched Ambulance, and it was fucking rad. It was rad.
It was good.
Yeah, I had a great time. There was a moment I didn't tell Naomi anything about it when I was like, we were supposed to watch this movie. A friend told me I'd watch it. And we're 15 minutes in, and there's this sweeping shot done with a drone that's down a building and sweeps around. And she was like, "Oh, this guy wants to be Michael Bay so bad." And I was like, "Oh, no, this is Michael Bay. This is the new Michael Bay." So I thought it was really funny.
Where'd you watch that?
It's on the Peacocks. It is streaming free on Peacock right now. And if you can stomach Michael Bay, it's a great movie.
So
if you don't like Michael Bay, don't watch it because there's a lot of Michael Bay-isms in it, but it's fun.
But is it a throwback in a fun way to Michael Bay?
It's much closer to like 90s era The Rock type Michael Bay than it is to like Transformers Michael Bay. It's tense, it's full of action. The acting is much better than it's been in a long time. It's very fun. It's a thrill ride. It's a blast.
So the next movie we're doing next week it's one of those movies, and I think this is the one. They're called career killer movies.
Oh no!
They're movies you go and you do, and with such good intentions, and then you come out of the other side, and everyone's like, "Oh, nope. you're in jail." And I think this is the one that did it to our guy, and it's one of our guys, one of our favorites.
Oh no!
One of our boys, Brendan Fraser. We love him.
Oh, Brendan! Oh no! I'm gonna be so sad.
It's called Monkey Bone.
Oh fuck, Chris Kattan.
I remember seeing it and thinking this is the most insane movie I've ever seen, and not hating it necessarily, but people hate this movie.
As far as I know, I've seen it one time at a sleepover back in school. I bought the DVD in like the cheap bin at Target.
Yeah.
And we watched it one at a sleepover. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember all of us being like, what? I don't know what happened. I don't understand anything. Let's go to the next movie.
So we're going to reassess this movie in 2001. So we're going to reassess it 21 years later. And I think it was the one that killed his career. I think I think this was the sort of the beginning of the end. And
or the end of the end. I don't know what else. Yeah. We'll have to check the chronology of his career, but
but I think this was post George of the Jungle, post Dudley Do Right, and everyone was just like, "What?
Dudley?
What the hell is this?"
Look
up Dudley Do Right real quick. See what year that was. This was 2001. Tony's working his computer. He's like,
clickety click. I'm the guy in the chair. 99.
99. Yes, I think this was the end of the end.
Oh, Brendan. I like this. He might be making a comeback. So
I think he made the whatchamacallit movies after this, but I think it was a few years.
What the hell is the whatchamacallit?
Journey to the Center of the Earth movies.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Let's see
if
I can find that.
Tony, look those up.
I'm just going to go to his IMDb real quick.
Why don't you just go to his IMDb real quick, and we can sort this out.
What a hot idea, Dan. You did it.
But I mean, Brendan, yeah.
I was just going to say, so Monkey Bone 2001. After Monkey Bone, this is what we've made. The Mummy Returns. Same year.
Oh, The Mummy Returns. So that doesn't count. That means they shot it at the same time and it came out.
Then his next movie was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
I don't know what that is.
It's just a terrible Looney Tunes movie. Just the worst one they've ever done. So Journey to the End of the Night, is that related to?
I don't
Journey
think so.
to the Center of the Earth was 2008.
Yeah,
so there was a big gap.
So 7 years, he got nothing, and then he did those movies, and those movies did okay.
And then they did The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
And that was
kind of it.
It's like, go do TV from here on out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this put him in movie jail for 6 years, which is not, that's what happens. They put you in movie jail for 6 years, they give you another shot. And Journey to Center of the Earth, those were interesting. They were okay.
They're fine.
They're fine kids movies.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, did we do one of those movies for this?
No, I don't think so.
Did we talk about the little elephants? Maybe I talked about the little elephants.
Maybe you I don't even remember Little Elephants, but they sound cute.
Yeah, it was the second one of those movies. It was the island, Mysterious Island.
Great.
And we talked about it, and I think Selena Gomez was in it. Either Selena Gomez or the other one. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
And they go to the island, and there are elephants that are this big.
No, we have talked about this. You're right.
Literally the cutest thing I've ever seen. So we're doing Monkey Bone. We're gonna give it an assessment. Maybe it's just a weird classic that people just were expecting something very different and couldn't deal with it.
Maybe.
Or maybe
it's
really,
it's a bad acid trip.
Really
I don't know.
So if you like what you see, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, or subscribe. And that's a thing you can do.
If you want to. No peer pressure.
No pressure. I mean, if we get to 1,000 subscribers, then we can start to monetize. But we're not quite
But
there
if we
yet.
also get to 5 subscribers, we'll be happy. So you just let us know what you want to do, guys.
So it's been fun, and yeah, that's probably it for the show.
Hey, we'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, watch it!